Today on Carolina Week, a Franklin Street restaurant owner is facing an attempted murder charge. We're live in court with the latest details. Plus,
it's like 6 or 8 inches lower now than it was.
North Carolina farmers are struggling because of a drought. What you can do to help them. And
sustainability is either the default option or it doesn't take that extra step.
It's Earth Day, what the university is doing to take care of Mother Nature. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Good morning and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Madeline Amati.
And I'm Catherine DeHart.
We apologize for being late this morning, so let's get right into it. Our top story today, the owner of a Franklin Street restaurant is facing attempted murder and domestic violence charges. Mathivanan Pothiyapan, the owner of Cholanad, was arrested earlier this month.
In court today, our team learned that he's expected to go before the judge in May. Now, we've dug through the court documents, and here's what we've learned.
The South Indian food restaurant's booth in Lenoir is now closed. At last check, the Franklin Street location is not open either. According to court documents, Pothiyapan was charged 2 weeks ago for throwing a medicine bag at a woman's face and threatening to kill her with a knife. Court documents also indicate the woman ran away and he chased her in his car. We have chosen not to identify the alleged victim.
New details this morning on a controversial report that looked into allegations of misconduct at UNC's School of Civic Life and Leadership. According to the university, faculty council leaders were offered a chance to read the 400-page report. Now, this comes after the university said it would not publicly release the report because it contained personnel information. Faculty Chair Beth Morocco and Secretary of Faculty Joy Renner say they chose not to read the report because in order to read it, they would have had to sign an agreement promising to not talk about what they read. We reached out to Chair Morocco last night over the phone.
On the one hand, I was very interested in seeing what was in the report, but in my role as chair of the faculty, I would not be able to communicate with my constituents about what was in the report. And so I didn't see how it would benefit the faculty, which is my constituency, for me to read it and not be able to share the information.
The Faculty Council passed a resolution last week asking Chancellor Lee Roberts to publicly release that report. Next, the Faculty Council will send a letter to the Chancellor asking him to waive his attorney-client privilege and release the report. In international news, President Donald Trump says he's once again extending a ceasefire with Iran. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance and other top U.S. officials' trip to Pakistan for a second round of negotiations has been called off. In a Truth Social post Tuesday afternoon, President Donald Trump said he extended a ceasefire with Iran until the country submits a proposal to end the conflict permanently. Trump continued, quote, "I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and, in all other respects, remain ready and able." A U.S. delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance and other top U.S. officials was expected to travel to Pakistan for a second round of Iran peace negotiations aimed at ending the war, but their travel was put on hold. Iran never confirmed its attendance at the discussions. There are concerns about the financial impacts of the conflict continuing.
We don't have a final number for a supplemental request, and we don't have a final number for what the damage is to our installations overseas, right? It really depends on how we decide to rebuild those or if we do.
The U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports will continue, according to the president, and Iran's foreign minister says the U.S. action amounts to an act of war and violates the ceasefire. Raleigh is facing limits on water usage to slow down the effects of North Carolina's ongoing drought. Our Emmy Berger takes us into the fields to learn its impact on local farmers.
Strawberry season is just about to begin on Eflin's McAdams farm, but not at the same pace of regular years. Howard McAdams and his family have planted, weeded, and tilled the land on their farm since 1885, growing vegetables like squash and their own hay. With Orange County in an extreme drought, they're one of the many local farmers struggling because of water, or the lack of it.
You can tell where the line on the wire over there from the top, you can tell where the color changes to where it is now. So it's like 6 or 8 inches lower now than it was.
McAdams sources most of their water for produce from a pond on their property, a bumpy property that is, where rainfall is critical to their business.
I'm powerless for whether the rain comes or not. So.
While we have had some rain over the past week, National Weather Service hydrologist Barrett Smith says it would take much more to feel the impact.
We would need anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain over the next month to really get us back to normal in that short term.
Even with no restrictions on Orange County's water use, Smith says the best thing people can do to save water?
Just try to conserve as much as you can. Everything that individuals do right now will help.
The Orange Water and Sewer Authority, OWASA, says the reservoirs that support Chapel Hill are at 88% capacity. The county's water response plan says to enter a water restriction, like Raleigh, the reservoirs would have to be at 60% capacity between now and September. But for farmers like McAdams, all there is to do is keep working and wait for the rain to fall. In Efland, I'm Emmy Berger, Carolina Week.
Thanks, Emmy. As North Carolina farmers plan for what comes next in the growing season, OWASA says the Chapel Hill and Carrboro area has gotten less than an inch of rain in the past month.
Speaking of the environment, it's Earth Day. So let's take a look into sustainability around campus. The university holds one of the highest ratings from the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. They track sustainability performance in areas like energy, waste, and education. On campus, initiatives range from energy efficiency projects and solar expansion to dining programs focused on reducing waste and sourcing food responsibly. One of the programs is Edible Campus UNC, which creates gardens across campus where anyone can pick fresh produce for free. Some of these efforts are invisible, though, such as the way buildings are made. Others are scattered right in front of students. For example, there are picnic tables that are actually solar powered, where devices can be charged using energy collected from the sun. Beyond campus, UNC partners with the towns of Chapel Hill and Carrboro in transportation. Chapel Hill Transit has 10 fully electric zero-emission buses, like you can see right there, and Sustainable Carolina takes a survey to understand sustainability on campus, according to Melanie Elliott, a sustainability analyst.
From that, we are learning that we need to make sure that sustainability is either a default option or it doesn't take that extra step, and that it's built into the infrastructure in the system, and you don't even have to think about it.
One of the biggest goals for the university is to become carbon neutral by 2040. According to Sustainable Carolina, UNC has already reduced its carbon emissions by 36% since 2007. All right, now let's talk about the temperature. It's already dropped early this week. Katie Wilson, she's here to tell us what to expect for this weekend's weather.
Yeah, guys, it was really nice this weekend. Got to go to the pool, but then I had to put on my sweatshirt. But we're looking at really wonderful weather heading into the later part of our week as well. So let's take it over to back to Earth Day and see what 4 things that you can do to get involved starting today. First thing you can do, you can shop at your local farmers market, support local business, as well as reduce your carbon emissions. Second thing, you can start using reusable grocery bags. Third, start adding usable eating utensils to your lunches. You can get those at Target or Walmart. And finally, you can be mindful of your water use. We are in that drought, as we've talked about. Limiting that water use is not only good for the environment, but also good for our state. Looking at that weather, we're looking high and dry for the rest of the week. Those temperatures are going to be nice and warm. We might have some rain chances as we head into Saturday and Sunday. However, we're going to see some beautiful weather for the rest of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, Catherine and Maddie, let's take a look to our live cam that we have out in Chatham County for that beautiful weather. Yeah, that looks so nice. I see people walking around outside enjoying the weather. I think I might be going out and doing some work. How about you, Catherine and Madeline?
Yeah, certainly. It's a perfect day to catch up on the pile of work I have to do before the last week of class.
Absolutely. And another scenic spot, we can see campus right in front of us, the Bell Tower, Wilson Library. It's absolutely beautiful outside.
Well, thank you, Katie, so much for that breakdown. Now, we take an update on data center development in North Carolina, how it may affect jobs and housing around the state.
And get ready, a first look at the Carolina Week special airing next week. We'll tell you what it's all about.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. The Orange County Board of County Commissioners voted to establish a one-year moratorium on the development of data centers last night. According to the UNC School of Government, a moratorium is just a temporary pause on new development, and it's often meant to give local leaders time to review rules and study possible impacts. Orange County is one of at least 5 municipalities in North Carolina to hit pause on data center development. A growing number of cities and towns in the state are passing these moratoriums, following a national trend. In Apex, town leaders approved a year-long ban. In Wendell, which is about an hour away, officials have also been considering a temporary ban as they rework local zoning and building rules to prevent data center development in the future. And in Fayetteville, city leaders are weighing the rules of a moratorium versus a proposed land ordinance that would restrict where a data center could go in the future. At last week's town council meeting, Councilman Sean McMillan supported a moratorium to buy some time.
What other communities have done is use that period to have a comprehensive plan. Basically, it shuts the door temporarily so you don't have the harmful industries coming in.
Now, supporters say data centers bring jobs and investment to an area, but for now, towns are still balancing the economic benefits and community concerns around data center development.
That's right, in AI, it's all anyone can talk about. It's why many want data centers to begin with. That's why our team has spent a year covering AI's impacts. You can hear more about data centers in a special edition of Carolina Week, and it's next Wednesday at 11:30 a.m.
Now, the Triangle is one of the fastest growing areas in the state, according to census data. Our reporter, Caroline King, is taking us to Raleigh to see how that growth is playing out in a historic neighborhood.
So just come on in.
Cheryl Williams knows the history of this home. It's a part of her own family history.
This man here, this is the man that I know the most about, Walker Turner, who was a shoemaker. He was my great-great-grandfather.
It has stayed in the family and is now in Williams' hands. Her plan, preserve the historic Turner house.
It has not changed at all.
While the inside has remained a time capsule, the outside has changed.
A couple of blocks over where they started tearing down the old apartment buildings and building up condos.
Less than a mile away, luxury townhouses are being built and selling for $1.5 million apiece. The concern for some? Gentrification.
Gentrification says it correctly.
In North Carolina, property taxes are based on the total property value. That value gets assessed every few years. When expensive developments are built near an older property, that drives up the valuation, and property taxes by extension.
Property taxes go up, you're on a fixed income or a lower income, you can't afford to pay the property taxes, so you end up losing your home. That's not fair.
In my work, I also layer on top of that kind of the aspect of race.
Ashley Hernandez is a professor at UNC Chapel Hill who has researched gentrification extensively. The Turner House and these luxury townhouses are both in Oberlin Village, which was founded as a free Black enclave. Hernandez says that expensive development happening in a historically Black neighborhood isn't surprising.
You can buy a piece of land in some of these neighborhoods at a very, very low cost, and then you can flip it and make a lot of money depending on what you put on it.
Raleigh City Council has allowed multi-unit zoning in hopes of easing gentrification and creating more affordable housing. And yet it's that same policy that also makes way for these new townhomes. City Council member Jonathan Lambert Melton argues, though, that these developments could actually slow down gentrification.
Putting more expensive new housing in an already expensive area like the Village District can help absorb some of that demand and keep some of that pressure out of areas that are feeling a lot of growth pressure.
Maybe we're normalizing these housing prices.
For Williams, any development still impacts how much she pays in property taxes. Because of ongoing gentrification, when properties were last revalued in 2024, her tax rate
doubled,
which has left her with tough questions.
Am I going to be able to keep this?
She said she's had to apply for grants and even dip into her own savings to pay the property taxes to keep the house, which is difficult for her to imagine losing.
I am most my authentic self when I am here because I have all my ancestors around me, and it's beautiful.
Reporting for Carolina Week, I'm Caroline King.
Thanks, Caroline. Now, we left multiple messages with the realtors and developers involved at the Oberlin townhouses, but did not get a response. Now, it's graduation season. I know all of my friends that are seniors are eagerly taking their grad photos, but next Friday, the Black Student Movement and Carolina Black Caucus will host their annual Umoja graduation ceremony at the UNC School of Social Work. In the more intimate graduation event, seniors walk across the stage and receive a special kente cloth stole. Students also choose the ceremony's guest speakers, which this year will include BSM President Adam Sharif and students from the UNC Poetry Group, ERA. This ceremony is one of many smaller graduations hosted by student organizations this year. The BSM advisor says Umoja, which means unity in Swahili, is a reminder that everyone has a place at Carolina.
I think it's so important to celebrate with the people that have honestly supported me along the ways and have been the people that I've seen every single day. So I do think that it makes graduation feel a little bit smaller and it feels a lot more connected to the people that I'm actually graduating with.
The advisor for the Black Student Movement says he expects up to 125 undergraduate and graduate students to attend the ceremony.
All right, coming up, a first look at the Carolina Week AI special.
And keep watching as we have Sports Extra's Emily Breitz in studio to analyze all things Carolina athletics.
No, we need to put it on now.
I know, I don't want to see any spoilers on Twitter.
Is that blue raz? Can I get a hit? I normally get guava ice, but this is hitting.
I'm gonna go outside and get some air.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. We now go over to Emily Breitz for an update on Carolina athletics.
As always, it's been a busy week in Carolina athletics. But first, as the school year is winding down, let's take a look at the top moments from UNC athletics this past year. Field hockey kicked things off in the fall with their 4th consecutive Final Four appearance. The squad featured 4 All-Americans, with the lucky number being 4. Let's see what Coach Madsen can do in her 4th campaign at the helm. Days later, Reese Brantmeyer made headlines taking home the NCAA Women's Tennis Singles Championship. Just the 2nd Tar Heel to bring home a national championship, Brantmeyer beat Cal's Pascal Folch in the finals. And in a complete turn of events, after Hubert Davis's dismissal, men's basketball hired Micah Malone to take over head coaching duties. The former Denver Nuggets head coach has a history of winning, bringing an NBA title to the Mile High City in 2023. Just weeks ago, Carolina had its first NCAA championship of the year, with Yusef Shamel becoming the first Tar Heel fencer in more than 4 decades to win the men's natty in Epee. And last but certainly not least, what might be the top moment of the decade, Seth Trimble's buzzer beater against Duke, an absolute storybook shot for a Tar Heel legend. And let's not forget about the double court storm with the classic Franklin rush to top it all off. Speaking of basketball, the transfer portal has brought some buzz to the Dean Dome. After losing guards Luka Bogobats, Derek Dixon, and Kyan Evans last week, Malone went to town building his backcourt, bringing in Utah's star guard Terrence Brown, shooter Matt Abel from NC State, and also big man Maxim Logue from FAU. The Heels are still in the hunt for the highly sought-after Juke Harris. Tar Heel legend Seth Trimble has also entered the transfer portal, but that's seen as just a precaution, just in case the NCAA rules have that players can have a 5th year of eligibility in an ongoing court case. Last night, the baseball team hosted the High Point Panthers in an in-state battle. It started with a first pitch by Caleb Wilson, who threw just as good as the Panthers pitchers. The scoring began in the bottom of the 2nd, where Carolina capitalized on 2 wild pitches and a fielder's choice, scoring 3 runs before having a single hit. High Point responded with a run in the 3rd inning, but Colin Heineck tattooed a ball into right field for a bases-clearing 3-run double in the 4th. Then Eric Paulson brought home Heineck with a single, and the inning was then topped off by a 2-run blast from Cooper Nicholson that cleared the fence. The scoring for the Heels ended after the 4th, and High Point scored 1 more in the 7th, concluding the game at 9-2.
You know, that's the thing. Everybody looks at, oh, North Carolina killed High Point, but I'm like, well, no, we did not. Like, the game could have been a lot different if Globe's not, number one, talented enough to do that.
Women's lacrosse is taking on Duke in the ACC quarterfinals in Charlotte as we speak. The Tar Heels lead the Blue Devils 7-3 at halftime in Charlotte. Darcy Felter leads the offense in the first half with a hat trick, and Chloe Humphrey has 2 goals on her own. Goalie Betty Nelson has been strong in the net with 3 saves, and the winner will either play Syracuse or Virginia on Friday. Tune into Sports Extra on Friday at 11:30 for a preview of a big weekend in Carolina athletics. Back to you guys at the desk.
And coming up, a first look at the Carolina Week AI special.
Hey y'all, decided to quit vaping. I feel so trash right now. Like, I really need my vape. Y'all, I literally cannot sleep. Like, I hope this is worth it. I can't. I know quitting is worth it. 'Cause I'm worth it.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Right now, a UNC senior is turning her love of art into a class of her own. Flavia Nunez Ludero created a new course at UNC that teaches the business side of art. The class is called Creation to Collection. Students learn how art is priced, sold, and traded. She said her interest started after taking an online art law course. They also create their own art and take part in a mock auction. The course is part of UNC's C-START program, which allows students to teach their own classes.
Now, the program ends this semester, and new student-led courses are set for next spring. Okay, now we're going to talk about AI. It's finally time to give you a sneak peek of next week's special edition of Carolina Week. AI. A force that is transforming the world as we know it. From London to here in North Carolina, we've spent the last 2 semesters finding out how AI is changing the way we work, learn, and connect.
I think exploring the ways humans and robots can interact and learn from each other is like embarking on an exciting adventure.
I'm curious to discover what AI is going to look like for this generation when they're my age.
Most of that land you look at was prime farmland. Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's just a small taste of who you'll see in the Carolina Week special, Face to Interface, which premieres next Wednesday at 11:30 right here on Carolina Week.
I truly can't wait. And before we end our last live show of the semester, we wanted to take a moment to say thank you. We begin with you. Thank you for watching every week. Thank you to our reporters for pursuing the biggest stories on our campus. And let's throw it back to the control room. We want to say a big thank you to our crew for making sure every show makes it on air. Thank you to our incredible professor, Layla Santiago, for pushing us to be great every single day and cheering us on along the way. And to our broadcast engineers, Gary Kirk and Aman Patel, thank you.
And a special thank you to our team of managers, particularly our seniors, Ben Mihalovich, Elaine Jimenez, and Madeline Amati. They've all poured so much of themselves into Carolina Week over the years. They've made our work better, and we're really going to miss them all.
And with that, for the last time, thanks for watching Carolina Week.